Hey guys, Mila the Hangry Woman here, and today we are going to be making some low carb taquitos. They're so delicious, super easy, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I was able to figure out how to make a low carb version of these. Absolutely amazing. Before we get started, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like videos about diabetes and diabetes cooking. I myself live with latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, which is a slow progressing form of type 1 diabetes. And I do videos all over my channel about cooking, about living with diabetes, about all kinds of stuff. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video if you're here the next time. But with that, let's get started making these taquitos. They're gonna be so delicious. So first things first, we're gonna add some oil to our pan, just a little tiny bit of oil, and this is gonna be to cook the beef. So what we're gonna do is just get that heated and sizzling, and then we're gonna take some seasoning, and this is a seasoning that has some celery salt, some peppercorns, garlic powder, onion powder. It's called like nature seasoning. It's really good. And we're gonna add a teaspoon of that to our beef over here. And then we're gonna mix that up nicely and just get it inside of the pan so that it can go ahead and cook. We're gonna cook the beef all the way because we're gonna roll them up into the tortillas, and then we're going to give those a little fry. So I wanna make sure that I get all of this nice and coated. And you don't have to use too much oil, which is the really good part about this. All right, the pan is nice and hot, and the oil is nice and hot, so we can drop these in. And what I did was I cubed these into about 1-inch cubes. They're like, you know, pretty good size. We want a lot of like good chunks in there, right? So we'll just drop this in. And I'm using a cut called beef tenderloin. Beef tenderloin is really nice and tender, as the name gives away. You don't have to do much to it. And it does also have a nice amount of fat. So it's not so fatty that you're gonna have to trim a lot off of it, but it does have a good amount so that you're able to enjoy and still have that really like nice, soft beef texture. So this looks great. It's done. I'm gonna set it aside for now. And then we're going to get to prepping our toppings so that they're ready whenever we want to eat the taquitos. So prepping the toppings is super easy. We already have some, so there's some salsa, there's some white onion that we're gonna sprinkle on top, cilantro, and then we're going to also make a little bit of a guac so we can add that later on top to be able to scoop with our taquitos. So let's do our guac. That is super easy and lovely. And this gets everything ready before we fry those taquitos. So I have a pretty ripe avocado here. I'm just gonna very carefully cut that in half. And then we'll do a little twist. And the way that I like to get the pit out is I just like squeeze around it, especially if you're making guac and you're not worried about things being pretty with your avocado. Oh my gosh, and this avocado is like really gorgeous actually. If you're not worried about that, you can just do a little squeeze and then you can take out the pit and you don't have to really worry about like harming yourself with a knife. Then I just go ahead and squeeze all of that into a bowl because you're gonna chop it up anyway, so you don't have to be very fancy with it, just squeeze it out. This one's a little stringy, that's interesting. Then do the same with the other side. So, and this is just gonna help, don't drop the skin in there. This is just going to be like a good dipping sauce for our taquitos. Next, you have your lime. So I'm just gonna give this a cut in half. You can probably use a cutting board if you're a little more civilized than I am. And then I'm going to squeeze out the juice of my lime. give this a little squeeze. Get all the juice that we can out of there. Or you can use concentrated lime juice. You'll just use a little bit less, but fresh lime juice, if you can use fresh juice, do that when possible. It's always so, so good. It doesn't taste as sour. All right, so that gives us about, let's see, 1/8 of a cup of lime juice. And so then we're just gonna pour that into our avocado, the whole thing, the whole 1/8 of a cup. And I know it looks like a lot, but it's nice. And then we're just going to make this into a little sauce. So probably could have picked a bigger bowl. I tend to do things like this. So we'll just mix it up. I tend to like my sauces a little chunkier. If you wanted to puree this and make it like really fine, you could put it into like a tiny food processor or a blender. But I like this route a lot. And then I'm gonna add some more. Give a little taste, yeah, pretty good. Very limey. And then we're gonna add in a 1/2 teaspoon of our nature seasoning. So just a little spoonful that brings back some of that savory with so much of the lime juice in it, and then gives us back some of that like onion, garlicky flavor. It's not really a guac, it's more of just like an avocado salsa. There we go, nice, chunky, delicious, ready for dipping. We'll give it one more taste here. Really good. Now we're ready to assemble the taquitos, so makes it super easy. I have some Carb Balance tortillas here, and I really love these as a low carb tortilla option. They have 19 total grams of carbohydrates per tortilla, but 15 grams of dietary fiber, which gives it 4 net grams of carbs. So it still has carbs, but you're not gonna see as much of a blood sugar impact. And so we're gonna use all of these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tortillas here. Then the assembly is really easy. So we're gonna take our refried beans, and that's gonna go on the inside of these. These are all toppings over here. And then we're also gonna put our cheese on the inside and our beef that I have back here. So we will do a little assembly. I also have my fry pan up here, which just makes things super easy for me. And so we'll prep all 6 the same way. We'll start by taking a little bit of our refried beans, spread it onto the whole tortilla. Super delicious. Then we'll add a sprinkle of cheese. You'll add about a tablespoon per taquito. And then you're gonna add a couple of pieces of beef for each one. There we go. And you can really put anything that you want inside of your taquito. So if you want to put chicken in there, you can. If you want to put like more stuff in there, you can, to like stuff it really nicely. You can do whatever you want. Sky's the limit, but I'm keeping it simple here with just a few ingredients, and then we're gonna have some of those dipping toppings. And then you just roll. You roll, 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 roll. And then you want to place it seam side down. That's gonna help it to stay together. And you want to roll them pretty tight. Like this is a pretty thick one, so I'll roll the rest of them a little thinner. And then we're about to roll up our last one. Before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in my avocado oil into the pan and get this heated. So So we're just gonna coat the bottom of the pan. We're not gonna deep fry these. We just want like a little less than an inch of oil in the pan. And we're just gonna use avocado oil because it has a high smoke point, so we can cook these faster. We don't have to put them into cold oil, and then they'll crisp up really nicely. We're also gonna place them seam side down in the oil, and that's just gonna help them to seal. We're gonna cook about 3 at a time, just so we don't overwhelm the pan, and we give everything a good amount of time to cook and melt all together. You know the oil is ready when you can see it smoking up just a little bit. So this is looking really good. And then I also have a napkin that I'm gonna keep nearby, so when I take out each of the taquitos, they can drain out and can drain the excess oil. My tongs, and I'm gonna drop them right in. You can hear them sizzling. And then, like I said, seam side down. Just ensures that they cook properly and also nothing falls out. Right now they're all hot on this napkin. They've drained a little bit so we can transfer them. I'm just gonna drop them on my plate here. Them looking so good. Yum, yum, yum. Delicious. Oh, so excited about this. And then we're gonna move this out of the way a little bit. And here is where we add the good stuff, okay? So I love being able to plate it and top it with lots of different toppings. So you can top with onions, you can top it with a little bit of cilantro. We're gonna do a good sprinkle of that right over the top. Just delicious plating. So sprinkle that over the top. Then we'll have some onion that we can throw on top. You could throw lettuce on here if you wanted to. I'll pick apart some cilantro leaves just to add those on top. And then we have our little bit of avocado salsa, which is just avocado, lime juice, and seasoning, like you guys saw before. And then we'll put a nice dollop of that on top. And that's it. That's how you make these low carb taquitos. Look at them, they're so beautiful. So nice. So, I feel like I should dig into one, but I don't want to ruin the beauty. They're so pretty. But let's take this one from the side. You remember it has like refried beans and good stuff in there, so. You get a good little bite of everything. Good bite of the beans, good bite of the beef tenderloin, which is super soft and tender, and then a little bit of that cheese. So good. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. You can get the full recipe with all of the ingredients at hangrywoman.com. Link is down below in the description. I'm gonna go dip and enjoy these. They're so good. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching and take care of yourselves. Bye.